Okay, hello. No humans. No human beings. I think there's no humans here. My comments, okay, if anybody's here, it's Mercury retrograde and we're having it. It's happening right before our eyes. The comments section does not work, so I can't see if anybody's typing comments because it's Mercury retrograde. And I see that there are no humans here. Now, we did miss a Katie Church last week. And so it's been 2 weeks. And so we may have just like lost everything. Oh, there's a person. Deirdre's here. Well, that's weird. But it usually shows me when people are here, but there's no. Anyway, if you guys are here, can you just say hi in the chat so that I know any humans are here? We've got Deirdre so far. Thank you, Deirdre, for saying hi. Let's see if there's any other human beings. So pop a word in the chat, everybody. It's Mercury retrograde. Shit's bound to be weird. Communication's bound to be weird. Technology's bound to be weird. Throw a word in the chat if you're here. Oh my God, there are humans. Why? Leslie, can you help me with something if you're still even here? It's not showing me the number of people watching like it usually shows in the upper left corner. Do you know why that would be? I can't see it. It doesn't show. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, 90. Hi, Bill. All right, cool. There's 4 of you. That's not nothing. If you can look into that, Leslie, of why the numbers of people are not showing, that'd be great. Just let me know you heard me say that. Okay, well, let's dive in. There's 4 of you here. That's not nothing. For the rest, yes, Bill, it says 4 for you, but it doesn't say it for me. That's the problem. Okay, cool. We're going to dive in for all 4 of you. Fork it. It's for you. It's for us. And this will be saved for posterity for all time. I can see it. We have 5. I know, but why can't I see it? That's my question. If you can find out, let me know. If not, no worries. Good to see you, Cindy. Good to see everybody. All right, cool. Well, let's chit chat about some stuff. So here we are in a lovely little Mercury retrograde. How lovely. We talked about it actually today on the podcast. If you're not listening to All the Answers podcast, I don't know what's going on with you. Your priorities are clearly upside down. What do you like? Have a life and a family or something? Come on. When you're at the gym, when you're going for a walk, when you're taking your dog out, All the Answers podcast, it's free. Can I see us? I'm waving. I can't see anyone. I never can. Okay, so we talked about this on the podcast. All the Answers, free, everywhere you get podcasts. Check it out. And something that's important to understand about Mercury retrogrades is that, first of all, it's an astrological thing that's happening. Secondly, which you know already probably, what we want to understand is it's a time to slow down, go inside, and connect with yourself and your spirit more. I once got the advice that the wisest move for a Mercury retrograde is to take yourself to the ashram, metaphorically speaking, or literally. If there's an ashram nearby, go to it. If you can't do that because you live in America or in a place in the world where you have to do jobs and make monies and have a family or whatever you're doing, take yourself to the metaphoric ashram. That can work as well. Meaning you want to stay home more during a retrograde. If you're going out, go out with the quality of energy in your field that is centered, connected to your emotional body, relaxed, peaceful, and awake and aware. When the retrograde hits, what we want to do is activate our spiritual connection more than usual. Slow everything down. The reason being, things are moving sort of backwards astrologically, planetarily, because the point of it is for you to review what's going on in your world. So a simpler way to say that is, you don't buy the car during a retrograde, but you look at what cars are available. So it's a good time to review. Well, I was thinking about getting the Honda, but now let's look over at the Hyundai. Well, I was thinking of getting the Tesla, but I'm going to get a bicycle. You review. If you're looking at big life choices, I'm going to move to another place. I'm going to marry a person. I'm going to not marry a person. I'm going to divorce a person. I'm going to buy a horse. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a dog. The suggestion is don't sign the contract, don't make the move during the retrograde, unless, like I say, when you're following your strategy and authority with human design parlance, it's really, really correct for you to do so, in which case, go ahead. But if there's any doubt at all, Mercury retrograde is not the time to sign the contract, buy the car, buy the house, get divorced or whatever. But it is a sign to have a conversation with your spouse about what's going on between you that makes you think you want to get a divorce. It's a time for review and going inside. So, some of you might have seen I'm doing a healing this Sunday to ease people's stress during the Mercury retrograde and to elevate the consciousness of the collective and to contribute some love and nurturance back to the earth for all that she does for us. Which, by the way, something to know is every time you meditate, every time you connect spiritually, every time you do something generous for someone else, any spiritual act you engage in or engage with, you are automatically contributing to the earth. She is a spiritual being that we're literally standing on top of, and we're intimately connected with her. And so whether you're a star being or an angelic being or an earth being or whatever you are, we're standing on top of a spiritual teacher, the earth. And so anytime you behave from a spiritual energy or a spiritual principle or with spiritual intentions in any way, and spiritual just meaning having values, coming from kindness, contributing love, contributing to unity and oneness, elevating consciousness, teaching awareness tools, whatever you might be doing that contributes to conscious awareness or spirituality, you are automatically contributing to the earth. However, and it sure doesn't hurt for us to send some active divine light back her way. The bitch is giving us light all day, every day. We could give a tiny bit back. It's kind of like when your mother raises you and you're like, you give her a card on Mother's Day and that's it. And she's like, all the rides to all the places, and I birthed you with my body and I cooked you breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 20 years, and I get a card once a year. That's why moms are pissed when they don't get the love they deserve. Now, it depends on the mom and the behaviors the mom has engaged in, but you get my point. So during this healing on Sunday, we're going to clear our own stuff. We're going to do a big clearing for the collective, and we're going to give some love and some light back to Mama Earth. So this came to me in meditation yesterday or today, because Mercury retrogrades can be so intense for people. Now, something I've noticed over the years for myself, and I'm a tiny bit hesitant to say it out loud, but I'm gonna, is that the more spirituality and activating my light body and aligning with source and becoming surrendered to divine guidance became the center of my life, the less painfully influenced my life has been by the retrogrades. I still see it show up. Like, we have fewer people here tonight. There was a little bit of a tech issue. There's, stuff, it's happening. But I used to have big dramatic experiences during retrogrades, car crashes and injuries and breakups and fights and friends leaving and coming and going. Remember too, another aspect to a Mercury retrograde is, communication will be confused and confusing between people. So you might say something that on a non-Mercury retrograde day, you might say, "Hi, John," to your friend named John on a non-Mercury retrograde day. And on Mercury retrograde day, you might say, "Hi, John," and John's going to hear something totally different. John's going to hear like, "What do you mean, hi? What do I look lonely?" John's going to have maybe a reaction to what you say that had you said it 3 days before, it wouldn't have caused a reaction. A couple things to know about this are there's really no getting away from it. It's happening. So just like everything else in this life, the best tool you can be armored with or prepared with is awareness. If you know you're in a retrograde and you know communication is going to be weird and technology is not going to work very well and systems that usually work are going to fall apart and be strange, that's okay. You can lean into that and go, all right, communication's going to be weird. Technology is going to be weird. I'm prepared. Systems may be weird. So, how I'm going to adjust is I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be aware and I'm going to slow way down. It's on the most dense levels of consciousness when we don't slow down during a retrograde. We have bad shit going like accidents and injuries and deaths and money problems and all kinds of stuff we really don't want or hope for or like. On a smaller level, the further along on the path you go, it can they're smaller things, the computer won't open or whatever, smaller things, right? You send a contract to someone for them to sign it and they never receive it. And you definitely know you sent it and they just don't get it because Mercury retrograde. A friend of mine, for example, yesterday we were talking on Marco Polo, which is a video app where we see each other as we talk. And she was like, well, I tried to deposit money in the ATM. The machine wouldn't take it. I called the number on the machine. No one answered. I went to the bank. I knocked on the door. They were sitting in there and didn't turn around. They didn't hear me. I was knocking, knocking, knocking. Nobody listened. And then she called someone who had called her 2 minutes before and they didn't answer. And so she had to leave a message when it was kind of like a timely matter. So the end of her message to me was, let the retrograde begin. So she's aware that it's happening and she's just going to be gentle with herself and with those in her life around it. So, yeah, another thing, just to give you an example, and then I'm going to say something about this. When we started the podcast today, before I even reminded my co-host, my buddy Cassidy, who I do the podcast with, I hadn't said any words about retrograde. And he opened our conversation on the podcast by saying, it's so weird. I was on a gig yesterday and I asked my partner who I did the gig with, do we have the whiteboards and the music and the markers? They do this kind of like game. They create games for corporate team building exercises, right? And the friend said, yep, I checked the bins. We have the whiteboards and the markers and the music. And they drive 2 hours to this thing and they get there and there's no markers, no whiteboards and no music. And the guy was like, oh my God, I swear I checked twice. I remember putting them in. Mercury retrograde. So what is to be done about it? A couple things. One is move slowly, triple check stuff, and just pause. There's a great saying in the 12-step programs. They say, pause when agitated. Another in human design, we would say, like, when you're not sure, don't make a move. No matter how much pressure is coming at you from the outside, from other people to make a move or make a decision or sign a contract, when you're not clear and the energy is wavery, don't make a freaking move. Don't make a decision. You can wait. Something we talked about in one of my classes the other day is the notion that anytime something is presented to you as being urgent, it's not. Urgency 9 times out of 10 is a lie. Or it's a perceived illusion. Like if people feel like something is urgent, their feeling is valid because they feel that way. But the actual urgency is often not real. So oftentimes, one of the best tools I've discovered in life to play with this idea with, or to navigate through this with ease, with using grammar, is the sentence, you know what? Can I get back to you on that? Or let me think about that. I'll get back to you soon. And you don't commit to when you're going to get back to the person. You just say, you know what? That's a good point. I'm going to think about that. I'll get back to you about that soon. Or can you give me a little bit to think about that and I'll get right back to you? So you put the person at ease by saying, I'm going to get back to you. You just don't commit to when, because you're waiting for the energy to become clear. You're waiting to have clarity for yourself rather than compulsively responding to the email, compulsively responding to the text, compulsively responding to the phone call, reacting emotionally to the thing your partner says, right? Instead, you know what? I'm going to take a minute. Let me get back to you on that. Great tool, very powerful tool, particularly during, in general, but particularly during a retrograde. Now, the second thing that I think is most important, and it's the purpose of why we want to amp up our spiritual practice during a retrograde, which, remember that spiritual practice can mean anything from when you guys get in touch with your emotions, when you slow down enough to get present to how you feel. And if you're not as much of an emotional person, if you slow down enough to get in touch with what's happening in your body, you're going to have an easier time navigating the rocky waters of life. Okay. And you're going to have an easier time navigating the rocky waters of the retrograde. When you deepen your spiritual connection or get connected emotionally to yourself, you become kind of like a balanced boat in a rocky ocean. So think of the retrograde as a rocky ocean. Would you rather be a centered boat that's not going to topple over? Or would you rather be like a mess yourself? So you're a mess like this, and the ocean is doing this, and now you have triple chaos. The idea is amp up your spiritual practice, connect to your emotional body or your physical body more than you do generally. And you're going to find that the rocky waves splash you in the face a lot less. It's a lot less of a dramatic experience when we can anchor ourselves in the spirit and our emotional bodies during a retrograde. Um, what else do I want to say? When the retrograde is messing with you emotionally, because remember, sometimes retrogrades mess with your outer reality. I shouldn't even say mess with, but they affect your computer, your contracts, your communication with people. But also, they can really affect what's going on the inner layers of your sense of self, right? Your feelings, your sense of self, your thoughts, your physical body, all kinds of shit gets different and is called into awareness during a retrograde. So, again, that's even more of a pitch for you to sit down, find a spot on your couch, and cry if you need to. Find a spot on your couch and journal about how angry you are about that thing. Find a spot on your couch, connect to spirit, however you do that, and let spirit meet you energetically in the energy of where you're upset. People so often want their upset to go away that they stay busy in an attempt to avoid their upset, or they stay distracted from their upset. So like sort of hoping it'll go away, or they stay avoidant of the upset because they think the upset will take them down. I've had times where I felt like my emotions would kill me if I stopped to feel them. I often, as a human being, have run into the voice in my head that says, there's no time to sit down and feel all these feelings. I have stuff to do. That one used to run me hard when I was younger. And I was lucky to have some really great coaches and people that helped me when I was younger who taught me, like, anytime you think there's no time to feel your feelings, you're incorrect. You can always find 3 to 5 minutes to cry in a bathroom stall, or to rage in your journal, or to slam pillows on your bed, or to scream out the window of your car, or whatever you need to do. And you'll be much better off for it afterwards. I find that here's a it's even this real. Let me give an actual example of how important this is. What I'm trying to say is, allowing your emotional process to occur if you're an emotional person, and your physical process to exist if you're a physical person, and your mental process to exist if you're mentally defined in human design, will literally shift what you are able to perceive spiritually. So let me say that again. The degree to which you're willing to be with your feelings and your blocked energy and your stuck buzzing head is the degree to which you can have a spiritual awakening in the moment around the issue at hand. But the degree to which you won't feel, won't drop into your body, won't get in touch with yourself is the degree to which you cannot have a spiritual awakening on the topic at hand. So I'll give you an example. I was on a trip this past week. I drove all over this great country of ours. I went down south to various parts of the South from New York. And I was really wrestling with a couple decisions in my life and just back and forth and not sure. Well, cut to like day 7 on the trip, and I had a big emotional meltdown that was really about a fully unrelated thing to the decision. I was having a meltdown about like some things just weren't working, and I don't know, I was having a day. So I when feelings like that come up, I go, okay, we're making space for this. Sat down on my hotel bed and just like sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And I was talking with a friend while crying and processing with him verbally, like leaving him voice memos. And at the end of it, when the crying was done, I kind of laid down. I had some water. Maybe I watched some TV. I just took a break and rested after the crying festival. All of a sudden, I had awareness about the answer to my own question that I'd been wrestling with for 7 days. But the thing I was crying about was fully unrelated to the question at hand. So, how are they connected? Well, they're connected because emotions are energy in motion. The emotional body is the doorway to the spiritual realm. So, when we allow the emotions, energy in motion, to move, AKA when we allow ourselves to feel, suddenly the doors of spirit are open in our body, mind, organism, and awareness can enter. It's kind of the thing of like, not to be crass, but it's a good example of like when you have makeup sex after you have a fight with someone, right? The fighting, we all want to avoid arguing and we all try to be better with our communication so we can but sometimes a good fight where you get to fucking say how you actually feel brings you so much closer together with someone than you would have been if you never fought. Because inside of a fight, there's a vulnerability that's trying to get expressed. There's a vulnerable emotional need that's not getting met, that sometimes the fight allows the need to get met. So once a need gets met, because maybe you just needed to be heard. Let's say you need your partner to hear you and you're yelling at them so they'll hear you. Is that the ideal way to proceed? It's not what we want to do, but like it happens, right? We're humans. So you're fighting, and then all of a sudden they go, "Well, I didn't know you felt that way." And you go, "Well, that's how I fucking feel." And they go, "Well, I'm sorry." And you go, "Okay." And then and you kind of like go to your separate corners, and then you feel better because you got your need met. Except for the kind of fight where you have a fight and the need doesn't get met. That's a different conversation. If you get in a fight and your needs aren't met afterwards, you're not going to feel resolved from the fight. It's just going to feel like, "Well, that was shitty and now I feel worse." But I'm talking about the kind of fight where your needs actually get met at the end of it. That's why makeup sex is so freaking great. You ever have any? You ever have a fight and like, "I'm leaving," and you slam a door and then you come back and you're like, "I'm sorry. I was overreacting." And then you kiss and make up and then boomski happens. The reason it's so good, makeup sex, is because the heart is open after a fight. The heart is open during a fight. Communication is happening heart to heart in a fight. And when the emotional body is open, the spirit can enter. So when you commune sexually after a fight, that's two open hearts communing quite deeply. And there's going to be a lot of spirit in that encounter. So, the feelings on this planet, you guys, we are so confused about what to do with these damn feelings. People are so confused, and there's good reason to be confused. They're very confusing, mostly because nobody knows how to teach kids about what the hell to do with their feelings. If we could just teach children that you're allowed to have your feelings and then you love them through it, you don't shame them for having them, we would grow up fucking healthy and integrated. But that's a very tall task. It's a difficult thing to do, to parent in that way. So, and some people do it. Not a ton, but some people do. Let's see. Cindy has said something here. Lately, my emotional outbursts seem to come in short bursts, are over, then seem to be over it. No other. I can't make the chat thing go away, so I can't read what the rest of that says, but no other issues, something, situation. Again, like I don't know what's happening, but I can't read the bottom of Cindy's thing because there's a chat window on top of your words, Cindy, that I can't move because Mercury retrograde. But anyway, I get the gist. That makes total sense. So anyway, what we're trying to talk about here is slowing down inside of a retrograde so that you don't have to experience the teaching that the retrograde is trying to offer you and give you in a more painful, exaggerated way. Wouldn't you rather get the teaching of a retrograde gently rather than harshly? Wouldn't you rather have a little cry on your couch than get in a car accident? You see, that's the other piece we all have to remember is the retrograde, like everything in life, is happening for us. not to us, and not against us. A retrograde is not trying to mess with you. It's trying to get you to slow down and examine what's going on in your reality. Look closely, feel deeply. So, the more you don't avoid those feelings, the more you let yourself melt down, sit down, cry, rage, etc., not at people, but in a way that is healthy, the more you won't have to be taught the emotional spiritual lesson of the retrograde in some externally initiated way. So that's that on that topic. Does anyone have any thoughts, questions, curiosities about this topic? Please throw them in the chat so I can see them. If you have any questions at all, or just things you want to contribute, things you've realized on this topic, I'd be happy to hear about them. In a second, I'm going to open the records of this group, and I'm going to take any questions that you guys have about anything. So please think about what you'd like to ask for guidance on. I'm going to open the records and be available for the giving of guidance. But does anybody have any questions about this particular thing we're discussing now, whilst I drink my Coke Zero? Yum. Let's see. Oh, I don't know, Leslie, if you're able to help me with this, but for whatever reason, the person who writes the last comment, I can't read it because it's under the chat word box, and I can't make the chat go away. Okay, Bill says, can there be retro getting sick? Absolutely. That reads like a big fat yes. Yeah, totally. Because again, that speaks, Bill, to what I was talking about you may get the teaching of a retrograde to slow down, sit down, and feel, be with yourself, be present, get connected to spirit. You may get that teaching through an external stimuli, a car accident, a computer breaking, somebody being mad at you, somebody not responding to an email, but you may get it internally. So I would say getting sick absolutely can be. Leslie says, mine too, can't see the last comment. It's so weird. So anyway, the more of you who can write questions, the better, because as you each add a question, it moves your questions up, and then I can read the bottom one. I can't read the very bottom one, so we have to have more questions. I'm glad, Sandy. That's good. I'm happy to give you information. She says she was watching on her TV link, no comment availability, so now she's on her iPad. Fantastic. Welcome here. Glad you're here. Any other questions about a retrograde that anyone has? Helping it move up. Thank you, Jamie Vega. Contributing to the team. I appreciate it. All right. Anybody want to know anything else about a retrograde? Anybody have any retrograde stories or experiences they feel like sharing? Please feel free to add it to the old chat there. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and open the records of this group, and I'll take questions you have. Please, you guys, while I'm opening the records, please do think about what you'd like to ask. Take your chance. This is our free thing we do every week, and I want to make it useful to you guys. Reminder, join us Sunday for an hour-long energy healing to clear your stuff, elevate, activate the consciousness of the collective, and contribute to the earth. It's $65, you guys. Come on. It's an hour-long healing, game-changing for $65. Just register for that. It's a thing. You should do it. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm getting my prayer open. Let's see. How can I add a comment if I can't see the bottom? I want to add a link for you guys, but I can't do it because I can't see the bottom thing. Leslie, are you able to add a link for people? I just want to put my Venmo in the chat so people can register for the Sunday class if they want to be at. Doc Bill says, I got hit by a snowboard. Yep, can't read it. Can't read the rest of that. Hey, Jamie, can you help it move up again? Type words, and then I can read Bill's thing. This is so crazy. How fun is it that this is happening? Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for adding it. Here, I'll give it to you here in our private place. Leslie and I have. And then you can add it to the chat for people. Thanks so much, Leslie. Cindy says, love this. Jamie says, moving. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Bill says, I got hit by a snowboarder while skiing and had a stroke. Jesus, as a result. Boy, would I be interested to know if that happened during a retrograde. Sure sounds retrograde-y. Also, I bet you that stroke was an important part of your growth and development. Oh, look, there's the Venmo. If you want to join us on Sunday, feel free to register. You just send your payment through the Venmo, and then we'll send you a link, a Zoom link for the class. All right, so I'm going to open the records unless anybody else has a question or a story about a retrograde event. Thank you guys for typing things and helping us move things up. I appreciate it. I know, Cindy, right? It's so funny. We're getting all the thank you, Sonia. All the retrograde stuff. And now I can't see the chat, says Deirdre. Cool. We're going to roll with it. We're rolling with it. Let's get in the records. I'm excited. All right. So we'll take a moment. We'll just close our eyes, you guys. This is fun. You guys are the best. We'll just take a few deep breaths into that low belly and getting ourselves connected to ourselves, our emotional bodies, the present moment. And as we deepen our breath into the low belly, we allow that low belly to expand and fill with air as we inhale, and contract and release air as we exhale. And just notice how shallowly you might be breathing in a general way, up in the chest or up in the shoulders, and just try to make a conscious, concerted effort to just deepen that breath into the low belly. And as we do so, we're going to feel our feet flat on the ground. And we're going to see a little spinning foot chakra spinning open at the bottom center of each of our feet, like a little tornado of light or a little vortex of light, spinning open and spinning wide. We're going to watch that little foot chakra or tornado expand wider and wider until eventually the entire surface area of the bottom of each foot is just an open plane of energy, like an open window. And as those foot chakras open, we just keep breathing low and slow in the body. Think of your belly from the belly button to the pelvic floor as being a big balloon that fills with air as you inhale and releases air as you exhale. And as those windows open at the bottom of each foot, we just acknowledge that this allows the electromagnetic field of the body to communicate more directly with the electromagnetic field of the earth. Two light beings interacting with one another, the planet and you, now more connected just through opening the foot chakras, just through our intention to do so. And we'll watch now as 500 tree roots of light extend through the open window of each foot and anchor themselves hundreds of miles into the earth. 500 tree roots anchoring through the left foot, 500 tree roots anchoring through the right foot, 1,000 roots of light dropping down and in and down and in. And next, we'll watch a nice wide grounding cord shoot from the base of the spine down to the center of the earth. Nice 1.5 foot wide grounding cord extending from the base of our spines to the center of the earth. And as that tunnel, that tube, that cord hits the center of the earth, we just allow a river of light. We imagine this river of light given by Sophia Gaia, soul of this planet, flowing up through that grounding cord into the base of the spine and flooding forward into your hips, flooding down into the glutes and quads, hamstrings and knees, calves, shins, ankles, and feet, and flooding down into the roots we established moments ago. Every single one of those 1,000 tree roots of light being lit up and activated, nourished and nurtured by this river of conscious light flowing up from the earth. Yeah, good job, everyone. Continuing to relax the body into the chair you're in and surrendering the need to control over to the light. Becoming open in this way makes reading you easier, the more open you can be. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Holy Spirit of God, protect me, please, from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know everybody here today at Katie Church on this platform here on this stream. What is this called? StreamYard platform in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see everybody who came here tonight, to this group through the eyes of the Lords of the Records. And enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of everyone who's here tonight watching me talk has for everyone here tonight. And I'll just go quiet for one moment. Okay. And as we deepen into the Akashic Records of this group of individuals here tonight, I'm just asking the record keepers and all the divine light that's contributing and conscious awareness itself to clear, release, uncreate, and destroy anything and everything in everybody's field here today or mine that would stand in the way of my receiving and their receiving highest and best guidance, wisdom, direction, healing for each of them, that they can each receive tonight. Anything in the way of that, we ask that you take it, release it, clear it. I'm asking now that you connect the hearts of everybody here tonight to a circle of light, and that you connect, our energies, ground them together as a unified whole into the earth below us. When we connect the hearts and ground the energy of the connected hearts, this makes it easier to pull a lot of energy through more quickly. Like if you have 10 people doing healing work, the healing work is 10 times bigger, more powerful, more fast. That's why Sunday's healing is important. Hopefully we get a bunch of people there, and that'll contribute to a big, wide healing for the planet and the collective. Excuse me, and ourselves, of course. And I just ask that you deepen me even further into the Akashic Records of this collective, of this group of people, and of the individuals in it. All right. Okay. All right. And so as we access the records for this collective, please feel free to throw any questions you guys might have into the chat. And please don't be shy. Whatever your questions are, they're welcome here. Personal, specific, detailed things about your health, things about your family. We do only have about 15 minutes left. So let's dive in as quickly as possible. All right. Okay, where am I from? Star being, angel being, earth being. What would be the best way now to connect? That's good. Deirdre. Okay, let me sit with that for a second. Well, you definitely have angelic qualities, much more so than star being qualities. Earth, nope, much more angelic for you, Deirdre. So what would be the best way for Deirdre to connect now in her life? Can you type in the chat, Deirdre, what you do already to connect? What do you do now, Deirdre, to connect? And in the meantime, because you have this angelic connection, there's a couple things that would help you. Okay, thing number one, but do write that for me in the chat when you're ready, Deirdre. Thing number one is there's some emotional work and clearing work that wants to happen at the womb space, second chakra, up through the third chakra. Yeah, it's second and third mostly. Um, a little bit of processing, a little bit of spiritual activation in those areas, and that would help you with whatever you're already doing. It will amplify it. Part of what happens, you guys, is it's harder to receive spiritual awareness and spiritual connection when we've got unprocessed emotional stuff in our bodies or unprocessed physical stuff in our bodies. That's why, by the way, in our next OMA class, for those of you in that class, we're going to be doing a lot of emotional clearing work, because where we're not emotionally processed and integrated becomes a block to what we can hear and receive spiritually and how much we can connect spiritually. So she says, light language, meditation, laughter. Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. Thank you for that, Deirdre. So yeah, so let's work through the clearing of that little dense energy there. Feel free to use your light language to bring it into those areas for facilitation. But also, I get when you're in the light language practice and the meditation, call on the angels and ask them whatever you want to know. You have scores of angels around you and access to scores of angelic guidance. So talk with the angels and listen to the angels, ask them questions, ask them to show you signs in your external 3D reality of their presence. I had a teacher once who talked about best way to get connected with angels is talk to them a lot and ask them to show up. And then when they show up, acknowledge that they've shown up. Because when they show up and you get a feeling in your body that's like, "Oh my god, that feels like it's from the angels," ask them, "Is that from you guys?" And if you get a yes, if you have a feeling of expansion, a feeling of lightness, a feeling of joy, a feeling you get tears in your eyes, that's a yes. Or maybe you have another way that you receive yeses and nos. Trust your yeses and nos, okay? So that would be nice, a nice next move for you, Deirdre. Thank you for the question. Facebook user says, "What am I not seeing?" I don't know what that means. So Facebook user, if you could give me your name, it helps me to have a person's name so I can tap into you a little more easily. And if you can be a little more specific, I don't know what am I not seeing means. What is the issue at hand? What are you trying to see? Like, give me something. Naini, who is Anderonda? I was given that name while sleeping. Let me listen. Can you say a little bit more about what you mean by you were given that name while sleeping? I think I need to understand more what that means. The first thing I get is no, so I don't know. They're like, "No, who is Anderonda? I was given that name while sleeping." Is this someone useful for her? No. Is this something to ignore? Yes. Is this sort of an illusion? Yes. Is it a delusion? Yes. Okay, I wouldn't really pay too much attention to this 90, but if you feel like saying more, feel free to say more and it might help clarify. Jamie says, "I would love to reiterate Deirdre's question, where am I from? Where should I aim my work? I'm meditating more and I love meditation classes that are led. Why I love classes." Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. Where am I from? So let's see. Is Jamie Vega star being? Jamie Vega, angelic, earth, something else? Okay, that's interesting. What else is there? That's interesting. Jamie, this is interesting. I've never gotten this for someone else before. I think you might be a Blu-ray like me. The Blu-rays are light beings that have lived on or traveled to or been star beings, light beings in many planets, dimensions, places, and spaces. And they incarnate on Earth and show up in all kinds of places to actually contribute to the light workers and contribute to the other star beings. So it's how I wound up teaching all this kind of esoteric woo-woo stuff to a lot of people that are already light workers who need to activate their light body more and step into their light work. That's so interesting. I've never met anyone who's asked that question where I got that answer. Do some research on the Blu-rays, and see if it resonates for you. Now there's something else in here. Let me just see what that is. Okay, Jamie, you could do with some part of why this is hard to access for you, or it's been hard to know, or whatever. You could do with some purification, activation of your field a little bit more, like there's more light that wants to come through your system to activate your awareness more so that you step into your spiritual service more. You're certainly being of radical service already to the humans in various ways in your life. And now, in order to step into your role on behalf of spirit, it would behoove you to amp up the amount of light coming through your system. More healing work, more activation work, more light language work, whatever you do that feels right to you. Where should I aim my work? Yeah, it's clearing it's like, I was gonna say density, but it's more like a fog. There's like a fog through you a little bit, and they're saying it's not as bad as it was. It used to be denser. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's lighter now, and that's good. So keep up with that. And let me know if that makes any questions. I mean, if you have any question or if that makes any sense. Okay, great. Thank you for that, Jamie. All right, and now I have so many this is good. Okay, Sandy says, "Did I do anything right with my children?" Aw, honey, that's a difficult question. That implies you did a lot of stuff not so right. What is my role? Okay. Let me tap into that, Sandy. Well, let's put it this way, Sandy. When it's challenging as a parent and when the kids go through stuff, you are the activation point for their spiritual journey and their emotional growth. So I can speak for myself and say the challenges I had with my very difficult mother are fully 100% responsible for me hopping into my own healing work to the degree that I did. I mean, it was necessary that I learn how to heal myself, that I work with the teachers I worked with, that I go to the healing schools I went to because I had no nurturing mom imprint in my system. And that's been a journey of many years. So when, when we have challenges as a mother, right? And the kids have challenges with us for whatever reason that may be, you are activating them on their growth path. And that is for real. And that is also important. I know it sounds like is it important? But it really is. Like, I would not be here today doing this with you guys. I wouldn't be doing any of the things I'm doing if it weren't for, in the 12 steps, they say the people who cause you the greatest pain are your greatest teachers, because they give you the opportunity to look at, well, what is this pain? What am I to learn from it? What am I to do with it? And then for me, I got to learn boundaries. I got to learn expressing myself. I got to learn human design. I got to learn astrology. I got to learn how to be an energy healer. I got to learn a lot of shit. So that's kind of what I get for you on that in terms of what your role is. Bianca, can I get an idea of my future? Will I be able to unblock? I am on sick leave. I do light language, meditation, Akashic record, and learning hypnosis. Will I be able to unblock? Yes. If you could tell me more about what you want to unblock, and if you could ask me a more specific question about your future, I could help you. Like, idea about your future is really general. Maybe you could be a little more specific, like, will I get this job? Will I, specify for me, and then I can help you. Will you be able to unblock? Yes. If you stick with your work Okay, let's dig into that question. Bianca. So Bianca, who's here tonight? Okay, the thing with you, Bianca, is don't quit before the miracle happens. You know, you get these like bursts of willingness, and then you're like, you don't want to have to do more. And spirit is like, sorry, babe, you have to keep going until you're done. And believe me, this is just me talking, I should have logged the hours I've spent doing healing work on myself. I mean, you would not believe how much time I've spent sitting there clearing another thing, sitting there clearing another thing, having another healing session, spending my last dollar on another healing session. The thing with you, Bianca, is don't give up. You're like, how do I know when I'm there? You'll feel better. You'll feel whole and at peace and empowered. That's how you'll know. So yes, you'll be able to unblock as long as you don't kind of like get mad about how long it takes and quit. Just keep going. Don't stop. Cool. Deirdre says, I live for synchronicities. This is great info. I'm so glad. I'm really glad. Bianca, am I connected to aliens? Yes. Or alien DNA? Definitely, definitely. Yes, Bianca, yes. Cindy, do my guides have any direction for me through the next week? I have a lot coming to completion over the next few weeks. I get a no. If you want to be more specific, there's nothing that they're like, she has to know this. Facebook user. It's so annoying. Facebook user says, I'm curious if I have a star being lineage. I get a no. If you could put your name in the thing, that would help me. Whew, let me just sit with this for a second. Okay. I think Facebook user, you let me check the time. Okay. I think you're a human being on a spiritual path. You are working through the wheel of karma, meaning for a lot of human beings, what they're doing is working off their karma. It's piece after piece, and that's what we do until you're doing something else. So it's a very noble pursuit to be a human being working through the wheel of karma. Now, the thing for you is, this is interesting. You have a choice, Facebook user. You have a choice this lifetime where you can commit to really doing this work or not. It's sort of a lifetime where, okay, let me explain. Some people come in and this is the lifetime where they're going to heal their shit, period. It's just what they've agreed to. It's what is. You have a choice. And you're kind of like this about it. You're like, maybe I'll heal all my shit. Maybe I don't care. So it's up to you. And you're not obligated to. Just know that, the longer you dilly-dally about it, you're going to come back next lifetime and do it then. So you're allowed to not do it. Don't do it if you don't want to fucking do it. But if you can find the motivation to do it, save yourself some time next lifetime. Make next lifetime a little easier on yourself. I hope that's helpful. Feel free to specify if you want to. 90, it woke me up saying the name 2 times. It didn't make sense. Yeah, it's not relevant. Don't pay attention. Move along is what I get for you, 90. Jacqueline, I've asked my spirit guides to introduce themselves to me in via dream a while ago, but have not received a response. Could you tell me who they are? Is something blocking me from hearing them? Jacqueline Holbrook. Is something blocking her from hearing her spirit guides? Yes. Who are they? Can we tell her who they are? No. Because, okay. I'm just feeling into your energy. Okay. So this is cool. Jacqueline, part of your spiritual path is is motivated by your desire to hear your spirit guides. So you can't hear them because you're not connected spiritually enough to hear them. So there's work to be done so that you can then hear them. In other words, use your desire to hear your spirit guides as motivation to do your healing work, do your activation work, show up for your spiritual healing work, get with a healer and do some sessions. Come on Sunday. It's only $65. Leslie's going to put the Venmo in the chat again. Leslie, do you mind putting that in the Venmo chat again? Or putting the Venmo in the chat again? Because I still can't do it. Join us on Sunday. That's a great opportunity to do it really affordably. Come to my OMA class Monday nights. It's a very affordable class for 5 weeks where we're going to activate your light body and process your emotional stuff. Jacqueline. So let's see, hold on. I lost your question and I want to make sure here we go. Yeah. So your desire to be able to talk to your spirit guides, use that as motivation to do your deeper healing work. Your system needs to lighten more and brighten more. It's, you're on your way. You're doing good. You've done some stuff. Keep going. Brighten it more. Brighter, meaning you don't act like it's brighter or think it's brighter or pretend it's brighter. You have to actually clear what's not bright, so that you can become lighter and receive. Listen, psychic awareness, talking to your spirit guides, all the cool side effects we get from deeply walking a spiritual path they're side effects we get from deeply walking a spiritual path. So walk deep and then you get the benefits. And that's the blessing of a lot of pain, or a lot of motivation to meet your spirit guides. For me, it was pain that motivated me to do a fuck ton of work. But it can also just come from a deep desire to know something, curiosity. Rock on. Okay, we did that. Bill says, I know I have strong connections to the Essenes, but they aren't star beings, are they? No, they're not. What is my soul's origin? I mean, the answer to that question is your soul's origin is the light of God or the light of conscious awareness. Is that what you mean? Maybe I don't understand the question, but that's what comes through for you, Bill. Let me know if you mean something else that I'm not understanding. Could you give me more info on light language? Is this something I meditate on? So light language starts to come through for certain people who have usually it's like star beings have an alignment to light language, sometimes angelic beings. There are different kinds of light languages. So like angelic lineages will bring light language through, star beings will bring light language through, the divine will bring light language through. It starts to come through. What I would do, Jamie, is just go to YouTube and search light language and look at all the different kinds of light language that can come through. And the more you activate your light body, you might start to receive light language. You can also train in how to connect to light languages. Usually the way that goes is you want to get clear on which star family you're more connected to. But in your case, if you're a Blu-ray, you can connect to all the light languages. I certainly can. So do some YouTube research, feel the energy of the people who are channeling the light languages and see what resonates with you and practice. That's exciting. I think you'll have fun with that. Sandy says she's got a dash. Huge yes. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. The Venmo, you guys, is there if you want to join us for the Sunday healing. When I test via kinesiology, who is answering? My soul, my spirit partners, or both? Okay. It depends on the moment. So what you want to do, Bill, is get really cleanly lined up, get anchored in yourself, get lined up with your higher self, and be a servant to the oneness or God. And then when you ask kinesiologically, make a strong intention to connect with your higher self and God itself. I now connect, open, do whatever you do spiritually that connects you, and then ask them directly. I would like to hear from my higher self. Set the intention and make a clear ask, and you'll hear from that thing that you ask. So don't just ask willy-nilly. Be clear about who you'd like to hear from, and that will help. Cool. And Deirdre likes Jamie Price, light language instructor. Great. Just research that Mercury retrograde will last until June 2nd. Okay, very cool. Well, is there a way to lessen its negative effects? That's everything we talked about in the first 20 minutes of today. So, yes. So go back and listen to everything from the first 20 minutes, which is slow down, breathe, amp up your spiritual practice, don't avoid your feelings, don't sign contracts, drink water, eat lightly, don't go crazy with like alcohol and weed and like heavy foods. Like keep your system pure and light and spiritually aligned during a retrograde and you'll have a lot more ease. Also re-listen to the first 20 minutes of today. Okay, my friends, I'm going to close your records for now. And because our time is up. Oh, and Ray has a question. Curious if you have a star being lineage. Ray hands, does she have a star being lineage? That's a yes. Hmm. I think you have Lyran alignment, which would actually make a lot of sense. Research the Lyrans, Lyrans. They're like the lionesses of the spirit realm. They're really badass. Thanks for the question, Ray. Okay, my friends, my pleasure. Thank you guys for being here. Let me close the records. I want to thank the Lords, Masters, and Teachers for their love and compassion. The Lords of the Records for their the Masters, Teachers, and Loved Ones for their love and compassion. The Lords of the Records for their point of view and the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. I see you return everybody here on this call in this class to their complete human wholeness, including Squeezle the dog. I ask that you return everybody's energy to themselves now. The divine portal and the Akashic records of everybody here today, including Squeezle, are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of everybody who came here tonight are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of everybody who joined us here today are now closed. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. She always knows when we're done, you guys, and she always knows when we're starting. She shows up when we start, and she's like, cool, 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 we're done. What are we doing now? I love you guys so much. Thank you, Facebook user. I hope we get to know who you are at some point. It was nice to have you here. Take care, everybody. Be in touch. Join us on Sunday. Venmo to hold your spot. Join us in our OMA class. Don't get dogtail in your face like I do. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.